The first thing I heard after my son was born was not my husband's voice. It was the soft cry of a nurse standing beside my bed. "He's beautiful." I looked down at the tiny bundle against my chest. My son, Eli. His fingers were so small that when he wrapped one around mine, I felt something inside me break open. Not from pain, from love. I had imagined this moment for 9 months. I had imagined Marcus standing beside me. I had imagined him crying. I had imagined him kissing my forehead and telling me how proud he was. Instead, the chair beside my hospital bed was empty. Completely empty. Marcus wasn't at the hospital. He wasn't even in the city. He was 3,000 miles away, on a luxury yacht, with another woman. And somehow, I'd known that before my son ever opened his eyes. 16 hours earlier, I had been lying in a hospital bed, gripping the sheets while contractions tore through me. "Has the father arrived yet?" the nurse had asked. I shook my head. "He's on a business trip." She gave me a sympathetic smile. "Is he coming?" I stared at my phone. 23 unanswered messages. 14 missed calls. One final text from Marcus. "I'm dealing with something important. I'll call when I can." That was it. No, how are you? No, I'm scared. No, I love you. Nothing. I turned my phone face down. "I don't know," I whispered. The nurse didn't ask again. But I knew the truth. Marcus wasn't coming. And for the first time in 7 years, I stopped making excuses for my husband. Our marriage hadn't fallen apart in one dramatic moment. It had happened slowly, quietly, piece by piece. It began the day I told Marcus I was pregnant. We were sitting in our kitchen when I placed the pregnancy test on the table. He stared at it. Then he looked at me. "You sure?" I laughed nervously. "Yes." He didn't smile. He didn't hug me. Instead, he reached for his phone. "What date did the doctor give you?" I told him. He opened his calendar. His expression changed. "What?" "The delivery window overlaps with the Pacific Investor Conference." I thought he was joking. He wasn't. "You're worried about a conference." "I'm not worried about it," he said. "I'm telling you it's a problem." A problem. That's what our baby was to him. A scheduling problem. From that day forward, everything became an inconvenience. Doctor appointments were inconvenient. Ultrasounds were inconvenient. Buying a crib was inconvenient. Even talking about baby names annoyed him. I went to appointments alone. I attended childbirth classes alone. I assembled the crib alone. When my mother asked where Marcus was, I smiled and said, "He's busy." I became very good at saying those 2 words. He's busy. He's traveling. He's under pressure. He'll make it up to me. But deep down, I knew I was lying. Then, 3 weeks before my due date, I discovered something that changed everything. I was looking for a confirmation number in our shared email account when I saw an airline reservation. First class tickets. 2 passengers, Marcus Hale and Vanessa Reed. Vanessa wasn't just anyone. She was Marcus's executive assistant. The trip was to Santorini. 7 nights. Private villa, luxury yacht, champagne package. The departure date was 2 days before my scheduled induction. I stared at the screen for several minutes. Then I called him. He answered on the 5th attempt. "What's up?" "What's Santorini?" Silence. Then a sigh. "It's a work trip. With Vanessa." Another silence. "She's helping me with the investors." "You booked a private villa." "It was arranged. 7 nights." "Claire, I don't have time for this." I closed my eyes. "I might give birth while you're there." "You have doctors." That sentence ended something inside me. "You have doctors." I didn't argue. I didn't scream. I simply said, "Okay." He thought he'd won. He didn't understand that I had finally stopped fighting for something that wasn't there anymore. 2 days later, my labor began. Marcus left for Greece that morning. He kissed my forehead before leaving. Not because he was worried. Because he wanted to look like a husband. "Try to relax," he said. Then he walked out. My water broke that evening. By midnight, I was in the hospital. By morning, I was screaming. By afternoon, I was exhausted. And at 4:18 p.m., my son was born. Eli, 7 pounds, 2 ounces. Healthy. Perfect. I held him against my chest while tears ran down my face. Then the hospital room door opened. I expected Marcus. Instead, an elegant woman in a cream suit walked inside. His mother, Evelyn Hale. She didn't congratulate me. She didn't ask about the baby. She placed a folder on the table. Marcus wants to end the marriage. I looked at her, then at my sleeping son. Today, he believes it's better to handle everything quickly. I opened the folder. Divorce papers, financial agreements, custody provisions, and then I saw it. A clause transferring control of several investment accounts away from me. I looked at Evelyn. What is this? Standard protection. For whom? She didn't answer. I turned another page. Then another. My name appeared repeatedly. Authorization, corporate guarantees, loan documents, investment transfers. I felt cold. I never signed these. Evelyn's expression didn't change. You don't remember? No. She stood. Claire, you have just had a baby. You're emotional. Don't make this more difficult than it needs to be. I looked at her. For the first time, I wasn't afraid. I picked up the folder. You should leave. Her eyebrows lifted. What? You heard me. She walked toward the door. Then she stopped. Your husband will not forgive you if you make this ugly. I smiled. I'm not the one who made it ugly. After she left, I called the only person I hadn't spoken to in years. My father. Richard Bennett. The man I had walked away from when I married Marcus. My father had warned me. He had told me Marcus cared more about the Hale family name than he cared about me. I thought my father was bitter. I thought he was wrong. I had spent 7 years proving him wrong. Now I called him from a hospital bed with his grandson sleeping beside me. He answered immediately. Claire. I couldn't speak. He understood. What happened? My husband left me. There was silence. Then his voice became calm. Where are you? I gave him the hospital name. I'll be there. He arrived less than 2 hours later. But he didn't come alone. My older sister, Mara, came with him. And behind them were 2 attorneys. I hadn't seen Mara in 6 years. She hugged me so tightly that I started crying. Not because I was sad. Because somebody had finally come. The attorneys examined the divorce documents. Within 30 minutes, one of them looked at me. Claire, do you know anything about these corporate accounts? No. Did you authorize these transfers? No. Did you sign this guarantee? No. He looked at my father. My father understood immediately. This isn't a divorce problem, he said. No, the attorney replied. This may be a criminal problem. The investigation began quietly. My father didn't call the newspapers. He didn't threaten Marcus. He didn't make a scene. He simply told his lawyers to follow the money. And what they found was horrifying. For nearly 4 years, money had been moving from Marcus's company into shell companies. Millions. Some of the transfers carried my name. Some used digital signatures supposedly belonging to me. But I had never authorized them. Then they discovered something even worse. The money wasn't going to Vanessa. It was going to accounts controlled by Evelyn Hale, Marcus's mother. She had been secretly moving money out of the company while using her son's authority to hide the transactions. Marcus knew something was wrong. He simply hadn't cared enough to look. He was too busy building his reputation, too busy attending conferences, too busy posting photographs of himself beside politicians and billionaires, and too busy pretending to be a husband. 3 days after Eli was born, Marcus finally returned. He arrived at my old apartment expecting to find me waiting. Instead, the apartment was empty. The crib was gone. My clothes were gone. The baby supplies were gone. And so was I. My father had moved me and Eli to our family home. Marcus called 17 times. I didn't answer. Then he showed up at the gate. Security stopped him. Tell Claire I need to see my son. The guard looked at him. Sir, you're not permitted inside. Marcus laughed. Do you know who I am? Yes. Then call her. No. His smile disappeared. Call her. The guard shook his head. Mr. Hale, you need to leave. That was the first time Marcus realized that money could not open every door. The next morning, his company received a notice from the board. He was suspended pending investigation. By noon, his accounts connected to the disputed transactions were frozen. By evening, reporters were outside his office. The man who had ignored his pregnant wife because he was too busy suddenly had all the time in the world. He called me. I answered. Claire. His voice sounded different. What do you want? I need to explain. You've had 9 months. I didn't know what my mother was doing. You didn't know because you never looked. I can fix this. No, Marcus. Please. I closed my eyes. Do you remember what you told me when I was in labor? Silence. You said I had doctors. I was wrong. Yes. He breathed heavily. I want to meet Eli. I looked at my son sleeping in his crib. You will have to go through the proper legal process. Claire, I'm his father. You remembered that very late. The investigation continued. Evelyn was eventually charged with financial crimes. Marcus wasn't charged with the same offences, but the evidence showed that he had ignored warning signs that could no longer be explained away. His company removed him permanently. His reputation collapsed. The luxury apartment was sold. The yacht disappeared. The magazine covers stopped. The invitation stopped. The people who had surrounded him vanished almost overnight. And me? I started rebuilding. Not dramatically. Not with revenge. Quietly. I opened a small investment firm with my father. I learned how to trust my judgment again. I raised Eli. And slowly, I became someone I recognized. 1 year after the divorce, Marcus asked to meet me. I agreed. We met at a small cafe. He looked nothing like the man who had walked away from my hospital room. He looked tired, older, human. I lost everything, he said. I took a sip of coffee. No. He looked at me. You lost what you thought made you important. He looked down. I was stupid. Yes. I hurt you. Yes. I hurt my son. I didn't answer. He reached into his jacket. Then he placed a small package on the table. Inside was a tiny silver bracelet. For Eli. I looked at it, then pushed it back. He doesn't need expensive gifts. Marcus swallowed. What does he need? I looked directly into his eyes. A father who shows up. He lowered his head. I don't know if I can become that man. That isn't something I can decide for you. He nodded. For several minutes, neither of us spoke. Then he stood. Goodbye, Claire. Goodbye, Marcus. He walked away. I watched him disappear through the cafe window. I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel angry. I felt free. Years later, Eli sometimes asks me about his father. I never lie to him. I simply tell him, your father made mistakes. But those mistakes were never your fault. Then I kiss his forehead. My son is growing up surrounded by people who love him. My father spoils him. My sister teaches him how to ride a bicycle. And I wake up every morning grateful for something I once thought would destroy me. The end of my marriage wasn't the end of my life. It was the moment I finally stopped begging someone to love me properly. I used to believe strength meant making the person who hurt you suffer. Now I know better. Sometimes strength is walking away. Sometimes strength is protecting your child. And sometimes strength is looking at the life you lost and realizing that what you lost was never truly yours. I didn't get revenge on Marcus. I didn't need to. I got something better. I got myself back. And that was worth more than anything he could ever have given me. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more emotional stories about betrayal, family, heartbreak, and new beginnings. And remember, the person who walks away from you may think they are leaving you with nothing. Sometimes they are actually leaving you free.